It wasn't the alcohol that got me into trouble, it was my best friend's idea of a good prank. Dude, relax. It'll be funny. Ethan had whispered 5 minutes before my wrist clicked into a cold metal cuff, locked to his. And now, standing in the middle of a jam-packed frat house, I was officially handcuffed to the one person I'd spent the past 3 years trying very hard not to fall in love with. The crowd had already noticed. Someone shouted, "Oh my God, are you two a thing?" And the wave of laughter that followed burned hotter than the whiskey in my veins. My first instinct was to shout back, to deny it, to make some dumb joke and laugh it off. But when Ethan squeezed my wrist, our hands awkwardly but firmly linked, I froze. His smile was infuriating. He loved attention, and this scene was feeding him like a goddamn buffet. "Guess the rumors are true," he said lightly, and the room erupted in cheers. My stomach flipped. Not because of the handcuffs, not because of the attention, but because for one dangerous second, I almost believed him. We stumbled through the kitchen, bumping into chairs, spilling beer on ourselves, laughing because what else could we do? Ethan was buzzing, his cheeks flushed, his dark hair falling into his eyes. He kept grinning at me like this was the best night of his life. I hated him for it. I hated him for how easy everything was for him. And I hated him most for the way my heart raced whenever he looked at me like that. "Come on, loosen up," he teased, tugging me toward the backyard where music thundered under the string lights. "It's not like being fake boyfriends for a night is going to kill you." "Fake boyfriends?" I scoffed, jerking my arm against the cuff. "You mean fake prisoners?" He laughed, a full, shameless laugh that made people turn their heads. "Prisoners in love, then." I wanted to punch him, or kiss him. Maybe both. The night dragged on in a blur of awkwardness and accidental intimacy. Every time I tried to grab a drink, Ethan had to move with me. When he leaned against the wall, I was dragged closer. At one point, some girl shoved us into a photo booth, and the flash captured us nose to nose. His arm slung casually around my shoulder as if we'd done this 1,000 times. "Seriously?" I muttered once we stumbled out. "Do you even care that half the campus now thinks we're—" He cut me off, his voice softer than before. "Why does it bother you so much?" I didn't answer, couldn't answer, because if I said the truth that it only hurt because it wasn't real, I'd lose him. We ended up outside, away from the noise, the cuff still binding us. The night air was cold, and for once, Ethan wasn't grinning. He was just staring at our hands. "You know," he began, his voice hesitant, "it doesn't have to be a joke." My chest tightened. "What?" He looked at me, then really looked at me, and I swore the whole world went silent. His smile was gone, replaced by something raw, almost nervous. "Us," he said quietly. "It doesn't have to be fake." I laughed, but it cracked halfway out. "Don't mess with me. I'm not." His fingers brushed against mine, slow and deliberate, and though the cuff forced the contact, it felt different. Too intimate, too real. I wanted to pull away. I wanted to run, but I was literally chained to him. And maybe, deep down, I didn't want to go anywhere. The night blurred into hours, and by the time we collapsed onto the couch in some forgotten corner of the house, I was exhausted not from the party, but from pretending I didn't want him. Ethan leaned against me, head tipping onto my shoulder like it was the most natural thing in the world. I should have pushed him off. I should have reminded him that this was just a stupid prank gone too far. Instead, I sat there, letting him breathe against my neck, my pulse betraying me with every thundering beat. And then, in the smallest, quietest voice, he whispered, "What if they're right?" I turned to him. "Right about what?" "That we're meant to be." "You don't mean that," I whispered, my throat burning. Ethan shifted closer, his cuffed wrist dragging mine along, the metal biting into my skin. His voice shook when he said, "I've meant it for a long time. I just didn't think you could ever feel the same." I stared at him, my mind spinning. How many times had I dreamt of hearing those exact words? And yet now, in this ridiculous, messy reality, it terrified me. "Ethan," I said carefully, "you can't just say things like that. Not when we're drunk, not when I'm sober enough," he cut in. His eyes locked on mine, raw and pleading. And even if I weren't, I'd still mean it tomorrow. And the day after that. And every day after that. My chest ached. This was everything I'd wanted, but it was too much. Too fast. Too dangerous. If I let myself believe him and it turned out to be a joke, I wouldn't survive it. So I pushed him away. The fight started small, but like every unspoken thing between us, it spiraled. You think this is some kind of game? I snapped, yanking at the cuff. His jaw tightened. No. For once in my life, I'm not joking. And you're too scared to admit you feel the same. Scared. I laughed bitterly. You're the one who treats life like one long performance. How am I supposed to believe you now? That hurt him. I saw it in the way his shoulders flinched, the flicker of pain across his face. But he didn't back down. You don't get it, he said quietly. When I joke, when I laugh, when I act like nothing matters, it's because I'm terrified. Terrified that if I show how much I actually care, people will leave. That you'll leave. His voice cracked, and suddenly, he didn't look like the confident, untouchable boy everyone adored. He just looked like Ethan. My Ethan. And I hated myself for walking away. I spent the next day avoiding him. Even cuffed together thanks to a stubborn lock and a missing key, I managed to dodge his gaze, his touch, his everything. It was torture, like trying not to breathe. By evening, the silence between us was unbearable. We sat on the roof of his apartment, the city glowing beneath us, the cuff still stubbornly binding us together. Finally, he broke it. If you hate me now, just say it. I'll stop. I don't hate you, I said too quickly. God, Ethan, that's the problem. I don't hate you at all. He turned, his expression softer, almost hopeful. Then what are you so afraid of? The words tore out of me before I could stop them. Of losing you, of this not being real, of waking up tomorrow and finding out you only said it because it was funny. He went still. Then he reached over, threading his fingers through mine despite the cuff, his touch deliberate and steady. Do I look like I'm laughing now? He asked. And no, didn't. The rooftop was quiet except for the city below, the hum of traffic, the distant pulse of life. But between us, everything felt suspended, fragile. Ethan leaned in, his forehead brushing mine. Let me prove it to you. My breath caught. The world tilted. And then he kissed me. It wasn't the reckless, teasing kiss I'd always imagined from him. It was slow, trembling, filled with all the things he'd never said out loud. It felt like falling and landing at the same time. When he pulled back, his voice was barely a whisper. Still think it's a joke? I shook my head, unable to speak, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might break the cuff between us. We never did find the missing key that night. Maybe that was fate. Maybe that was the universe telling me what I'd been too afraid to admit. I didn't want freedom. Not from him. Not ever. By the time the sun rose, spilling light over the rooftops, Ethan had fallen asleep against my shoulder, his hands still entwined with mine. I watched him breathe, every fear I'd carried slowly unraveling. The cuff didn't feel like a trap anymore. It felt like a promise. And for the first time, I wasn't scared. Because maybe, just maybe, the whole world was right about us. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.